Greetings, everybody. This is Mr. Lowe. We are looking at lesson 8 for today. You want to make sure you have your notebooks out in front of you. What we want to make sure we do today is just kind of focus on the process, right? We have done whole number times fraction. We have done fraction times whole number. We have done a mix of both of those. Today, it is fraction times fraction. So we are literally taking something that is less than a whole and multiplying it by another thing that is less than a whole. So we should be talking really, really, really small products today. So as we work, let's go ahead and get started. So I've got my first problem here. It says find the product of 1/3 times 5/7. 1/3 times 5/7. So they're going to use models today to get us kind of into that habit of doing things. And I like the models. I'm not a great fan of them, but they're not too bad. So here's my one whole. I have that one whole and it's broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. So I've got my whole, it's broken up into 7 pieces. What I want to do is I want to now break each of those 7 pieces into thirds. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I want to color in one of those thirds. 2, 3, 4, 5 in 5 of those pieces. So I now have, and maybe I'll make that a different color. There's a third, there's a third, there's a third, there's a third, there's a third. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thirds colored. And if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, out of 21 total spots. So what we're doing here now, math-wise, is simply taking a fraction and multiplying it by another fraction, which is the same exact thing as saying 1 times 5, all divided by 3 times 7. Well, 1 times 5 is 5, 3 times 7 is 21. That's the math behind it. The model just gives us a picture of what we are doing. And again, if you want to, if you did if you looked at that cross simplifying piece to it, we can't cross simplify here because none of these two denominators can be divided by evenly by each of the two numerators other than 1. We don't ever want to divide by 1 because that just makes the same exact mistake. I mean, same exact problem. So use the models as a way to look at how to answer these questions. We're going to look at a problem that are going to look similar to this too. So now we've got find the product of 5, 6 times 1/10. Sometimes it's easier to do the math first. So I might want to do 5, 6 times 1/10. And I know 5 times 1 is 5, 6 times 10 is 60. But I also know I can simplify that because 5 over 60 is the same thing as 5 divided by 5, which is 1, and 60 divided by 5, which is 12. So we can do that math, which is fine. We can also use the model. Look at the model. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to color in 5 of those this way. And I go all the way across. And we'll use red just because. So there is my representation of 5 out of those 6 all colored in. Now I want to go the other way, up and down, and I look at there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to color in one of those 10s all the way up and down. And now I look at where that overlap is. Right here is where the overlap is. So there's my overlap. And when I look at that overlap, I just have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my 5. And there are a total of 60 squares in that entire piece. There's my 60ths. So again, today, as you're doing the math, you might want to do the multiplication first. You might want to solve it second. That's fine by me. Your answer should be one of those two. You should be able to write it as 5/60ths or 1/12. If you watched the cross simplifying, I know I can do 5 and 10. So 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 10 twice. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 6 times 2 is 12. There's my 1/12. So as you're working today, you're going to get a bunch of models today. If you need help interpreting the models, my suggestion to you would be do the multiplication first. See if you can figure out what the answer is and see if you can match your answer with the model. Sometimes the models will look like that. Sometimes the models will look like this. So for this one, we see that each model, A, B, C, and D, is broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. There's my 6 pieces. I know I have to focus on just 5 of those 6 pieces. So I'm not focused on all of them, but I also notice I'm breaking up these pieces into thirds, and I need to shade in 1 out of those 3 pieces for 5 different times. That to me says this one here. So again, if we're looking at this, I said, okay, I know I have 6 entire wholes. So each one of these is broken up into 6, A, B, C, and D. I'm only focused on 5 of those 6. So that takes rid of this one and it takes rid of this one. This A and D both have 5 of those 6, right? And I know I'm shading in 1/3 in 5 of those 6. So let's do this. We'll change colors here. I'm shading 1/3 in 5 places. Here's 1/3, here's 1/3, here's 1/3, here's 1/3, here's 1/3. That's 1/3 in 5 of those spots. That means out of the 2 of those, that's going to be 5 out of 18. Okay. So as you're working again today, you want to make sure we're kind of following along. Notice that I cannot cross reduce or cross simplify in this problem because 1 can go into 3 and 6, but we never use 1. 5 cannot go into 6 or 3. And I can't do it the other way around. I can't take my denominators 3 and say, well, 3 can't go into 5 evenly, and it definitely can't go into 1. So you want to kind of keep that in mind. And if you're confused on cross simplifying, go back and watch the video. All right, you guys, have a great day. Make sure you come and see me if you need extra help. Make sure you are focused when you are doing your quick checks and you are writing everything down.